It is a clear demonstration of the Ethiopian government. It is a clear demonstration of the people of the nation, including myself, that we are committed ourselves to eradicate poverty.
G and Cross Boundary have a good partnership. It's a project financing agreement for the financing of portfolio of mini grids that will connect over 150,000 people.
Across Africa, a series of projects is unfolding that ties together energy, finance, governance, and humanitarian response. These initiatives are led by international partners, but designed with African priorities in mind. They aim to build reliable electricity, support trade, expand green transport, strengthen governance, and protect people in crisis. In the next few minutes, let's explore each project in detail and see how they all fit into Africa's larger transformation. Ruzizi 3, hydropower across borders. The Ruzizi 3 project is more than a dam. It is a rare example of regional cooperation. Planned as a 206-megawatt hydropower plant on the Ruzizi River, it brings together the Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, and Burundi. The river flows across their borders, and now it will generate power that benefits all three. For Burundi, the impact is particularly striking. The country's entire current generation capacity will more than double once Ruzizi 3 is operational. Rwanda, too, will see a large jump in electricity supply while the DRC strengthens its own grid stability. What makes this project important is not just power generation, but the kind of power it delivers. Instead of expensive diesel or destructive charcoal, Ruzizi 3 will provide clean, reliable, and affordable electricity. Developed under a public-private partnership, the project is supported by the International Finance Corporation. IFC has disclosed that it is considering equity investments to move the project forward. Preliminary work is complete, and the tendering process for the construction contractor is already underway. With a timeline running until December 2028, Ruzizi 3 represents a long-term commitment to cleaner, more cooperative energy development in Central Africa. Energy access, mini-grids for underserved communities. While Ruzizi 3 focuses on regional hydropower, CB Energy Access looks at a different angle of the electricity problem: how to bring reliable power to smaller communities scattered across sub-Saharan Africa. The project is managed by Cross Boundary Energy Access, known as CBEA, and its specialty is decentralized renewable energy. This means building and financing mini-grids, small, self-contained power networks that can serve villages and towns that larger grids do not reach. For households and businesses that have relied on diesel generators or gone without power entirely, these mini-grids are a lifeline. The International Finance Corporation approved an investment of up to $10 million in August 2025 to support CBEA's growing portfolio. Nigeria and Madagascar are the immediate focus, with many more projects planned across the continent. Over the next few years, the aim is to roll out a pipeline of decentralized renewable energy projects that provide not just electricity, but also economic opportunity. With power, small businesses can expand, schools can function, and clinics can operate properly. CBEA's model uses off-balance sheet financing, which allows mini-grids to be developed at scale without weighing down the balance sheets of local operators. By December 2028, this approach is expected to create a network of renewable mini-grids that fill the gaps left by national grids, ensuring more inclusive access to energy. Support to the aid for crisis prevention and peace building. Energy projects grab headlines, but governance and stability matter just as much for Africa's development. That is where the support from Germany's Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ, comes in. This initiative is titled Support to the African Union for Crisis Prevention, Conflict Management, and Peace Building within the framework of the African FRI. The project is built around transitional development assistance, which bridges the gap between emergency aid and long-term development. Its purpose is to strengthen the African Union's own capacity to manage conflicts, prevent crises, and promote peace building. What does this look like on the ground? It involves psychosocial support for populations affected by violence and displacement, education and training to build resilience, and attention to the social consequences of crisis. By focusing not just on immediate relief but also on long-term recovery, BMZ is investing in Africa's ability to handle its own peace and security challenges. The project runs until April 2026, but the impact is meant to last well beyond that. By empowering the African Union and local communities, it reduces dependency on outside intervention and builds a foundation for stronger, more resilient governance. JBIC and Côte d'Ivoire, green finance through a heads of agreement. In December 2024, the Japan Bank for International Cooperation, better known as JBIC, signed a heads of agreement with the government of Côte d'Ivoire. Just a few months later, in May 2025, the agreement turned into a formal general credit line. This was not a routine loan. It was structured under JBIC's Green Operations, designed specifically to support environmental preservation and decarbonization projects. For Côte d'Ivoire, the agreement means new funding that aligns with its climate commitments under the Paris Agreement. The funds will be directed toward projects that balance economic growth with environmental responsibility. For JBIC, this was part of a broader push to support green development in Africa, positioning Côte d'Ivoire as a leader in climate-aligned financing on the continent. The agreement runs until December 2026, with the potential to shape how Côte d'Ivoire finances development for years ahead. ATRI-SCB-SCF, expanding trade finance across Africa. One of the largest barriers for small African businesses is access to credit, and the ATRI-SCB-SCF project is a direct response to that problem. Set up by the International Finance Corporation in partnership with Standard Chartered Bank, the project operates under IFC's Global Supply Chain Finance Program. IFC has committed up to $150 million, matched by Standard Chartered, creating a $300 million facility. Over 3 years, this pool is expected to support more than $1.5 billion in trade financing. The program targets 8 African countries: Ghana, Côte d'Ivoire, Kenya, Egypt, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, and Zambia. Key sectors such as agribusiness, healthcare, manufacturing, and food processing are expected to benefit. The impact goes beyond businesses alone. By supporting over 300 suppliers and indirectly assisting more than 1 million farmers, the project links finance to real livelihoods. It turns international trade into a more accessible opportunity for African SMEs. The facility is set to run until December 2028, ensuring long-term access to trade finance across the continent. LEAP, Leapfrogging to Zero Emission Transport. The Leapfrogging to Zero Emission Transport Program, or LEAP, is led by the German Society for International Cooperation, GIZ-GmbH. Its purpose is to help African countries decarbonize their transport systems in line with the Paris Agreement. Transport emissions are rising fast as African cities grow, and LEAP aims to prevent the mistakes made elsewhere by skipping over fossil fuel dependency. The program promotes electric vehicle adoption and renewable energy infrastructure to power them. GIZ has worked with African and international experts to create evidence-based policies and highlight Africa's potential to use its abundant solar energy for this transition. In its publication, Leapfrogging to Sustainable Transport in Africa, GIZ outlined 12 perspectives on transport transformation, from electrification to the importance of a just transition. The program is scheduled to run until March 2026, but its policy groundwork will continue to influence Africa's transport systems long after the official timeline ends. A PRA Champions Program building governance capacity. The APRA Champions Program, supported by BMZ, focuses on strengthening the African Peer Review Mechanism, or APRM, known as ACP. The program invests in champions who can promote good governance, social progress, and environmental sustainability. The initiative spans services, education and training, and environmental issues. It is part of BMZ's wider support to the African Union's peace and security agenda. By strengthening governance capacity, the ACP ensures that reforms and policies are carried forward by African leaders themselves. The program runs until April 2026. Its long-term significance lies in linking governance improvements directly with sustainable development and peace building across the continent. JBIC Equity Investment in Cordia Directions Limited. Alongside its credit lines, JBIC has supported an equity investment in Cordia Directions Ltd, a Japanese startup operating in Kenya and East Africa. The company runs Peach Cars, a used car trading platform that makes the market more transparent and reliable. Suzuki Motor Corporation invested in Cordia through its corporate venture capital fund, Suzuki Global Ventures, in June 2025. For Suzuki, the move provided insights into the East African market, while for Cordia Directions, it meant resources to expand its platform. For Africa, the investment offers a more trustworthy used car market. It also aligns with JBIC's interest in socially responsible and environmentally aware investments, since transparent platforms can support the shift to cleaner and better vehicles in the region. JBIC credit lines to Côte d'Ivoire and Benin. Beyond the agreement with Côte d'Ivoire under Green Operations, JBIC also signed a second credit line with the Republic of Benin in July 2025. Both credit lines run until December 2026 and are aimed at supporting environmental preservation and low-carbon development. These agreements allow both countries to access financing directly linked to their climate commitments. For Côte d'Ivoire, the first credit line marked a milestone in green financing. For Benin, the second credit line reinforced JBIC's long-term support for its low-carbon transition. Together, these credit lines represent a significant step in Africa's access to climate-aligned finance from major global partners like Japan. Samurai Bond Guarantee for Côte d'Ivoire. Another historic step came in July 2025, when Côte d'Ivoire issued Samurai bonds for the first time, becoming the first sub-Saharan African country to do so. These yen-denominated sustainability bonds were privately placed in Japan, with JBIC providing the guarantee. The guarantee allowed Côte d'Ivoire to tap into Japan's capital markets, diversify its funding sources, and raise proceeds for environmental and social projects. For Côte d'Ivoire, it was a breakthrough in financial credibility and global integration. For JBIC, it was part of its strategy to use its resources to open up new markets for African countries while supporting sustainability. Contribution Country IFRC Appeal, Sudan's neighbors. When conflict spills across borders, it rarely respects limits, and that has been the case with Sudan. By mid-2025, the violence inside Sudan had already pushed hundreds of thousands of people into neighboring countries. Places like Chad, South Sudan, the Central African Republic, and Ethiopia suddenly faced waves of displaced families arriving with little more than what they could carry. To prevent an even bigger humanitarian disaster, the International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, IFRC, launched the Contribution Country IFRC Appeal Nachbarländer des Sudan 2025. This appeal officially opened around July 14, 2025, and will continue until December 31, 2025. The purpose is simple but urgent. Gather financial support for humanitarian response in Sudan's neighboring countries. Food, clean water, and shelter are the first needs. But the appeal also funds healthcare services, sanitation, and protection for vulnerable groups such as women and children. At the same time, it strengthens the National Red Cross and Red Crescent societies in each host country, making them better prepared to handle both current and future crises. What makes this effort important is that it's not just about handing out aid and walking away. The IFRC is coordinating closely with local societies, ensuring that every dollar raised builds lasting capacity. By the time the appeal ends in December 2025, the expectation is that both displaced people and host communities will have received vital support to survive and recover. Speed Invest Africa, backing startups for growth. Not all projects focus on emergencies. Some are about building for the long run. That's exactly what the Speed Invest Africa Fund is trying to do. Launched in early July 2025, this venture capital fund has a bold mission. Invest in African startups at the early stage, where ideas need financial fuel to grow into full businesses. With backing from the European Investment Bank, or EIB, the fund secured a massive pool of capital, about $235,790,666. For Africa's tech entrepreneurs, that is not just money, but a chance to compete globally. Many African startups struggle to raise capital at the early stages, which prevents even the best ideas from becoming products or services that reach customers. The fund's purpose is to flip that script. By providing seed and early-stage funding, Speed Invest Africa helps promising startups scale up, hire staff, and bring innovative solutions to the market. The impact will ripple outwards. Every new company has the potential to create jobs, provide services, and contribute to Africa's digital economy. Running until at least December 2026, the fund focuses on technology companies building solutions tailored for Africa. That could mean mobile payments in underserved regions, logistics networks in fast-growing cities, or clean tech tools that help communities leapfrog outdated infrastructure. With the EIB involved, there is also accountability and oversight to ensure the investments deliver measurable results. While humanitarian appeals address urgent survival, funds like Speed Invest Africa are betting on the continent's long-term growth. Together, they show two sides of the same story, responding to today's crises, while also building tomorrow's opportunities. Across Africa, these projects reflect a broad spectrum of priorities: energy, finance, governance, climate, and humanitarian response. Each project tackles a different piece of the puzzle. Together, they point toward a continent that is not standing still, but moving forward with the help of international partnerships, careful planning, and a focus on both immediate needs and long-term goals. What do you think about these projects? Do they show a path forward for Africa's development? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.